Hey, what's up, everyone? Brad Chmielewski here with episode 154 of Shatter The Vain. Some new stuff's been happening within Vainglory this week. We've been getting in trouble for dodging. We got info on the new talents that are coming. The Android PBE is out there. Whew, there's been lots of stuff happening. And London with the Unified Live Championships are right around the corner. I will not be attending those, but I will definitely be watching and rooting for the teams here back home. This week I have Mr. TNT joining me, a YouTuber that's making some great videos over on his channel, so check that out. So we dive into all of that. We dive into the draft mode for all that I'd love to see happen. I think Super Evil Megacorp needs to implement draft mode for everyone. And yeah, we dive into that, the item Echo, and a whole bunch more. So, all that more on this episode. Let's do it. Let's get into it. Episode 154.
Shatter the Vain.
This is the 154th episode of Shatter the Vain. My name is Brad Chmielewski, and this is a podcast all about Vainglory. Every week, I try to break down the news, gameplay, game tips, and hopefully we can all become better players together. And each week, bringing on new people within the community, people that love this game, people that make content, support it, play it a lot. And this week, I have Mr. TNT joining me. Welcome.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Is that the name you want to go by, or is that just your secret identity in the gaming world?
Yeah, sure. I'll go by that secret identity. That works for me.
Okay. Well, welcome. Thanks for joining me today.
Yeah, thanks
Uh,
for having me on.
so, you've been making some content for YouTube for a little while now, but stepping back before that, how'd you get into Vainglory?
So I've been on Vainglory for quite some time, but really got me into it. I remember watching the keynote on the Apple presentation
Hmm.
for Vainglory when they were showing it off. I don't know how long ago that was, but I was here before they had guilds or any of that stuff. So I've been on the game for a while. I never really was interested in MOBAs or anything like that
Okay.
prior to Vainglory. I never really liked the aspect ratio and like the way the camera was positioned for like League of Legends and Dota and stuff like that.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah, it never really interested me until Vainglory came out. And there were always a lot of controls for those for computer versions of MOBAs that I thought were very like they had a high learning curve to it.
Yeah, when you jump into one of those,
Yeah,
so many buttons and everything. It's crazy.
yeah, I know. You can't even react. But yeah, I thought it was a very simplistic approach that they were bringing to it, and I found it very interesting through the lore and just the characters and stuff.
That's awesome. So you were playing other games. Were you like doing PC console games, or just were you a mobile game person beforehand?
Um, I was all over the place.
Okay.
I played PC, I've played console. I did a lot of mobile gaming early, so I played a lot of like Angry Birds and stuff like that. Clash
Okay.
of Clans, Clash Royale, Boom Beach, all those. I've worked on with Supercell,
Oh,
similar
cool.
to the public beta thing that Vainglory has going on right now for Android. I've been working with them on Boom Beach when that first came out. I
Oh,
never got
neat.
on to Clash of Clans because that was kind of a secret thing they had going on.
Okay.
But I did work on Clash Royale for a little bit. But yeah, those kind of fell off eventually. The community that were around those kind of games. There's a lot of clickbait going into that and all the free gem kind of things.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
easy to be like,
yeah,
yeah,
I
free
never,
chess. Vainglory doesn't really have any of that. I guess I don't want to say scams kind of going around. People post, but they're not real.
a lot of that stuff isn't real. But yeah, I just like Vainglory, and I like it a lot more now that they have a lot of different brawl modes.
Hmm.
So with Blitz and Royal, even though I don't play Battle Royale that much, I still find it a lot more interesting now that you can play a lot of shorter matches. That was a big issue of mine because I didn't have a lot of time up
Okay.
to take a 30-minute or a 40-minute match to play.
Yeah, sometimes it feels daunting, but then yeah, sometimes the battle royals aren't even enough. It's like, I want it more, but then you just
Yeah,
do
I
another one, I
know.
guess.
Definitely.
That's cool. So then your YouTube channel, like that you started that not too long ago, right?
Oh, I've had the channel for a while.
Okay,
I
but the
haven't done a lot of
Vainglory.
Yeah, I haven't done a lot of stuff on it. Originally, I was doing some Clash of Clans stuff, and then that died off. And then I played a game, World Zombination. I was really working with the developers on that one. They were announced on the Apple keynote as well.
Mm-hmm.
They wasn't shown, but like they were like on like their logo and stuff. They were pretty proud of that, and they've been working with them because I know the devs at Vainglory also know them as well.
Oh,
Goes for
cool.
them, and they gave me a similar thing for the public access beta where I was testing it out and exploring it. Um,
Okay.
but then just recently, I've been posting more of the Vainglory and switching more to that that I've been working on videos for.
Nice. So what kind of stuff are you trying to do on the Vainglory channel? Is it just gameplay? Or are you trying to give like learning tips, or like what are people gonna find when they go there?
It's all over the place. So I like to do a lot of informative stuff on the updates that are coming out, voicing my opinion on what I think really is interesting in the update that they're putting out, like the new talent system. I think that's a great thing that they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
I'll also post gameplay because I get some good gameplay occasionally. I'm not the highest tier, but I'll post some of that stuff. I'm also starting a few new series that are in the works that they'll be revealed shortly on what's going on.
Ooh,
I hope they
okay.
can be more community oriented,
Okay.
and that people will like that. But that'll be coming out shortly, like this summer.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay. So everyone should go over there and subscribe. There's a link in the show notes. Yeah, check it out. It's always cool to see more people making YouTube content for Vainglory because it's actually not a lot of people on YouTube.
Yeah, I know. There's a handful of people here and there who do it, and there's only a few that are fairly dedicated to actually doing it because it is a
Hmm.
smaller community. But I
Yeah.
think it can grow.
Yeah, for sure. Especially as the game continues to grow, and hopefully, these talents and everything we get into here in a little bit will kind of entice people to kind of do some different stuff with that.
Definitely.
Cool. So yeah, we've had a bit of news this week. So yeah, let's jump into that.
Vainglory News.
So the first bit is probably this hot fix. That was kind of a big deal that I think came out like last week, and so it was to address the rampant dodging that had been happening. I know I saw a Iraqi Zoro tweet like I don't know he over exaggerated. He was like 10 hours in queue kind of thing and having to reset. But yeah, when you are in queue and someone dodges your draft or something like that, and you have to go through it again, it can take a long time. So they kind of got rid of, or you can still dodge, but now the problem is you're going to lose skill tier if you decide to dodge. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. What do you think about this?
I know I'm going to admit to it. I've done it before and I do it
Okay.
fairly often sometimes, but I'm playing down in like tier 6 right now. So I kind of have to dodge now because the draft mode isn't really even in the tier 6 and tier 5 area
Hmm.
who have the heroes that they need or that are like good for the team synergy. So they're just going to choose the hero they want to play or try. Like a lot of times, like lately, there have been characters, not characters, but players who will go into the match and they'll lock in the first hero that just came out in the update or a hero that isn't in the meta at all, and they want to play it because the new skin came out for him. So they're going to
Yeah.
insta lock it in a ranked match, and I'm like, well, I don't really want to play with you if that's what you're going to be doing. So I'm going to dodge this match so that way I don't lose my skill tier because you're intentionally just trying to check out a new character.
Right, which you could go into casual queue and do that, or even the brawl modes, like you said, like you can do whatever you want in those. People don't usually dodge the brawl modes. So.
Exactly. No one dodges blitz. I don't know if I've ever seen it. But yeah, I know it's been an issue for a lot of people. I don't really mind dodging that much because I don't have that long of queues. It's never been a real issue for me.
Okay.
But I understand why they did it, to lose the skill tier and stuff like that.
Yeah, because what was it? Before, it used to be if you dodged once, it was like 5 minutes. If you dodged twice, it was 20. And then like a third time was an hour or something like that. It was like a timed band,
Yeah, yeah,
um, which wasn't too bad. But really, since so many people have different alts and smurfs, they would just, if they dodged twice, they just change accounts and kind of keep going. So there wasn't a lot of a reason not to dodge. I think the skill tier thing uh, is going to make people kind of rethink it. But my problem, I like this, but I was a little worried that you can just get out of a game and get someone that was intentionally feeding or trolling you, and then you get them again on your team. And really, the only thing you need to do is dodge at that point, because
yeah.
it's just going to happen again, and you're not going to have a good match. So that kind of sucks. Even if you downvoted them, there's no way that it's going to guarantee you're going to not get them in your game again.
Yeah, that's why for me, dodging wasn't a huge issue. A lot of the issues were like the downvoting and how that system works. Because I've had matches where I hop in a rank and then I lose because a character goes AFK, or he intentionally just gives up because we're making some dumb moves on our team, but the game isn't over until the Vein Crystal is shattered.
Yeah.
Shatter the Vain. Gotta throw out that. But
Nice.
it's not over till they eventually till someone loses. That's why I never surrender or just stand in the base and just sit there, which a lot of people that I've had happen, they do.
Yeah.
Ranked match and they'll be in queue and they'll do the same thing and you'll lose again because you get matched with them, even though your whole team or you downvoted them. So I think the hot fix was a good idea. I know a lot of people have been having that issue, but for me personally, punishment for AFKing during a match or intentionally losing a match for stuff like that, and how like the downvoting system works, because it's fairly vague on how it works in the punishment system for it.
Yeah, it doesn't really do much. Yeah. I think, yeah, like you said, it's very vague, and I think it's almost like just a layer on top of it that maybe there's data they're getting and they'll kind of at some point implement more of a system. But yeah, that probably needs a bigger work to go along with this hot fix, and I think people would be a little happier. But I think, like you said, it's a good direction. I agree, it's a good direction for them to go, and makes the people, especially in the higher tiers, think twice about maybe the draft didn't work out, but let's play this out because maybe we'll win. Because if I dodge, I'm gonna still lose this skill tier, so it doesn't matter.
Definitely.
Then this week, Broken Myth, brokenmyth.net put up a new hero tier list for update 2.4. This one was kind of interesting because they didn't necessarily, I want to say the heroes didn't feel like they were ranked this time. They were mainly just like clustered as like, hey, these are the better heroes for this update. Did you get a chance to look at this list?
Yeah, I looked at it a few days ago. I'm looking at it right now too.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's pretty spot on for the heroes that are fairly strong right now for this update.
Yeah,
Um,
so in the carry position, we have Gwen, Baron, and Vox are like their top picks.
yeah, I think Vox will almost always be up there in the top pick, just generally, because there always are those characters who have abilities and they work just by like
Yeah.
default of design, the way they design them, and they'll almost always be up there. The one that I'm really happy about is Samuel. He got a lot stronger in this update. He's a really underplayed character, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I find him like super interesting, the way that his abilities work and how he can kite around everything. I think
Yeah,
that's
and
very useful.
people chase him, and yeah, it does not work out.
Yeah, it doesn't work at all. Um,
Then in the jungle, they kind of put Kashka and Grumpjaw as like their, I want to say, top picks. I assume these are top picks because of the bigger pictures.
yeah,
The jungle role is interesting to me right now. It's kind of feel like all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
I don't know if I agree with Koshka. I feel like she was stronger in 2.3 than she is now.
okay.
jaw that he is a lot stronger now. He's been in a lot of the challenger battles in Vainglory 8 that I've been watching. I've been seeing him a lot. I don't know
Right,
about
yeah.
Alpha or Rhyme. I haven't seen them like hardly, or Ozo.
Yeah, I haven't seen much Ozo. Alpha gets banned out quite a bit if you have draft mode because people just don't like to deal with her. Like
Yeah,
having someone that can come back to life, it's like, yeah, no thanks. I don't want
especially
that.
early game.
Yeah. And then in the captain position, they put Lance and Finn as a top pick. And it looks like, sadly, they put Catherine here at the bottom, which I think Catherine right now is probably pretty good. Like, maybe not as good as Lance or Fortress, but yeah.
Yeah, I know definitely Lance is definitely number one by far, no doubt. I think he's in almost every Vainglory 8 or Challenger battle. He's either banned or picked as the first pick. I think Arden probably would have been higher than Fortress. I know he was fairly good last update, not so much anymore.
Mm-hmm.
That he's that high. Personally, I think he's one of the worst captains in the game. I think
Who,
he's just
Arden? You
no,
don't
no,
like him?
no, not Arden Finn.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, not Arden. Arden used to be my main for quite some time,
Okay.
but I feel like Finn, his abilities are fairly slow in general, and he's just too slow for my play style.
Okay.
And he can't keep up with a lot of the heroes. So maybe change his. I don't know if they did in the update. I didn't read about it.
His movement speed. I think Ryan was the only person that had like a slight increase to his movement speed. But yeah, that's always interesting thing about Ryan is, I mean, Finn is he's slow, but he's like this meat shield. He's just blocking everything that's coming at him, trying to keep people from getting to your allies.
Definitely.
So neat. I always love seeing these tier lists because it kind of gives you some idea of like, oh, maybe I shouldn't be playing who's at the bottom, like a Idris or a Jewel right now. Maybe if I want to win, if I want to climb, you need to play some of these top tier characters. Although anyone could have a niche hero and kind of go all the way to the highest rank with them. But if you're struggling at all, I would look to this list to kind of pick up somebody and kind of learn them right now. Because yeah, like we said, Vox is just a hero you should know if you're playing the carry role.
Mm-hmm.
Learn him. Like we said, he's been strong since his release.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of these things are really great to know, not only for early game people, but also for Vainglorious.
Yeah.
I think it's just super interesting how they can always find out what the best hero is for that time in the update based on the patches and stuff and what's working.
Yeah.
And I think it's great for lower people so that they can practice a hero when they're actually good. The hero is like at its strongest, and then they can learn it. And then when the hero falls off next update, they can learn a new hero every time.
Mm-hmm. And I wonder how much, or if any of this data is coming from any of the API sites that kind of know, like, hey, Gwen is a top hero right now because she's getting played, 10% more games than everyone else.
It wouldn't surprise me at all. But I feel like another factor would definitely be the esport factor and see what the esport players are playing and how they're playing them and who's winning. Because I know they collect a lot of that data during the streams. They even talk about it.
Yeah, definitely. Cool. Another bit of news is the announcement of the way to get talents. So it looks like talents are going to be coming in update 2.5 here, since they didn't come in the last update, and we're getting news on them now. We got a little bit of info on how you're going to be able to get them, and that's why we just came off, I think, a double glory weekend or 2 double glory weekends, because you're going to be able to pick them up with glory. The talents, these are things you're going to see in the brawl modes, and they're things like multiple Arden gauntlets, triple cards from Gwen, things like that, just fun, wacky abilities. And you said you play quite a bit of brawl modes. Are you excited for this?
Yeah, I think I'm super excited for this stuff. The only thing that I'm kind of worried about is what kind of talents we're going to be having for each character. So I know how Gwen has the triple aces high that she
Yeah.
throws. I'm not sure how effective that's going to be. I don't know, like if it locks on or anything like that, or how that works. I'm not so sure about some of the characters and what they're going to be having, but I trust that they'll get most of them right. I know the
Hmm.
Celeste one is pretty cool. They showed that off in
Yeah, one of the teaser videos.
2017, I think,
Yeah.
where she can have like the flying heliogenesis around her.
It's
I think
circle,
that's super
yeah.
cool. Yeah. It's interesting how they're doing a lot of things with glory now, because before it used to be a thing that a lot of people don't use that often. Once you have all the heroes, there isn't much to do with it.
Yeah, I know. I have a lot of glory, and I don't have anything to do with it. So yeah, buying the charms and now the talents, kind of a nice thing to do. I'll hang on to my opals now until I know what to do with those. But yeah, using my
Yeah,
glory is kind of nice now.
definitely. I have like 700 opals and I don't know what to do with it. um,
So the
this is
the
doing a lot
talent.
of.
Oh,
Yeah,
oh
I'll let
the
you go.
Oh, the hero. So the talents, you're gonna have a couple ways you can get them. So you can play any 5 different heroes. The heroes you play will get you talents for those specific characters. You play any brawl or standard PvE mode to get credited for playing that hero. So this is a really fun way that it happens in standard mode too. So you're incentivized to play the other heroes, so you have credits uh, and abilities to unlock these talents. So if you just want to see what Idris's is, you're gonna have to play him a little bit to unlock them that way. So that's cool.
Definitely. Um, I think Vainglory is doing a lot of things that are community orientated.
Hmm.
So giving out glory and stuff like this. And I think that's a really good step for them, as we also talked about the hot fix that came out. And I think it's a good step that they're working on what the community wants and what they're seeing as issues, instead of just keep pushing out new stuff,
Yeah.
which is always nice. But I'd rather have them fix some of the issues before they put out a lot of this new stuff. But I think talents will be a great thing to put into brawl modes.
Yeah, and I think with the
But yeah,
talents coming, we probably won't see a new hero in update 2.5. Like I think the talents are going to be something that probably kept most of the team over there very busy. And yeah, we probably won't see a new
definitely,
hero.
because they have to do the whole talent and like the whole animations for each skin.
Yeah.
That's already in there. I'd be surprised if they even have any skins that come out in the next update.
Yeah, I don't know. They gotta make money, right? So they got to be there's got to be skins there. They can't give all this stuff for free. But yeah, because I think they need to test and get these talents figured out, they kind of need this bigger pool of people testing it, and so they opened up the Android beta. Or the Android PBE, I guess. It's sort of a beta. So it's the PBE, which is the public beta access, right? Arena
I think it's,
environment, public
yeah,
environment.
environment. Yeah,
So now, if you're an Android user, you can get in there and get into the PBE, which was before only iOS users. Are you an iOS user or Android?
I am an iOS user. What about yourself?
Yeah, I'm an iOS user. I have an Android tablet around here somewhere that always forget to charge, and then I don't use because I have the iPad. So
Yeah,
I have it, but I almost never use it.
definitely.
But this is great, and I think it's a way for them to get a lot more data and information going into the next update, because the fact that before it was just like, hey, we need to test like the normal game. This is the 3v3. We have enough players, but as we go into these talents and soon to be 5v5 at some point, they need way more people testing and getting into the game quicker.
Yeah, definitely. I think the public beta is a great idea. I know there's been issues with the iOS version because you have to get out like access codes and stuff, and it can't be open to everyone just because
Yeah.
the way iOS is. Um, but I know that's great for the Android community, so they can get out there and test their different game, because I know they have slight differences, I
Hmm.
believe, in the way that it runs, just based off the different app stores and stuff. I know I've heard some of that from the community. Not
Yeah.
sure how that works though.
And I bet knowing some of these abilities, like we said, the Celeste stars, the heliogenesis that swirl around her, that's got to be heavy on some of these devices. So I wonder if it's a little bit of that, like, oh well, what are you on a Samsung, 7? Does it play well on that? Like, what's happening?
I know that's a big issue with just technology in general getting outdated so fast. But it's another big issue with the talents feature, because you're gonna have all these like heliogenesis flying around and gauntlets going off everywhere.
Yeah, it's good.
So that's gonna drain some battery.
For sure, yeah. When I'm playing, when it's 10% and I'm like, I can finish this game. If you're playing a brawl mode, I don't know. It could be dangerous now.
Definitely.
Cool. So that's most of the news as far as the game's been happening. There's been some stuff in the esports scene that's been pretty interesting this week. Nova Esports picked up the team Rage Pingers. So this was a team that made it to one of the live championships I went to. It was the one that was at Red Bull, so Rage Pingers were there. And I know the big dog, he's been in it, I think, almost the whole time. He might have bounced around a little bit, but been part of this team. So this is cool, them getting picked up by a new organization that's kind of has this backing. They're in other games. I know they're still growing and still fairly new a little bit. But yeah, very cool to see.
Definitely. Yeah, I saw this the other day as well. Another brand new organization that's getting picked up. I know personally I'm working with a new one of these esport organizations that's going to be coming out, which I'll be revealing shortly. I don't own it or anything. I'm just working
Okay.
to help them out. Yeah, we're recruiting some people right now, but
That's
be
awesome.
coming out soon. So I know that's a lot of big things with Vainglory or the esports.
Yeah, it seems like the homegrown teams, if you are even remotely good and can get into the challenge battles or Vainglory 8, like an organization's going to want to pick you up and pay for you. So it's very cool to see. Then on the esports side, the challenge battles have been happening this weekend. As we're recording it, I think the NA ones are about to start, or they're starting later. I'm not sure the exact time of that.
Start today.
Yeah. But the EU ones happened, and there was quite a few upsets over there. I've watched the first set of games between Mouse Sports and Reliable Union. I haven't watched the other ones yet, but Reliable Union made it in, and then Rising Lotus, they kept their spot, and then Lemon and Lime made it in, getting rid of Fluffy Chickens, who was only been in there for 3 weeks. Has been a Vainglory 8 team for 3 weeks. So that sucks for Fluffy Chickens.
Definitely, because they actually scored some points too, I think, against some of the EU teams.
Oh, they did, yeah. I think that match was best. All of them were best of 5. That one went to the 5th game, so I think I'm gonna have to watch that one because it was probably really intense.
And I only watched the first game, and then I had to do some other stuff. But yeah, I watched the other ones off and on, which was fairly fun to do. I think Rising Lotus just had a bad luck getting down into the Challenger Series. I think they are a much better team than being the Challenger Series. Not to discredit the other teams, but I think they can be a lot higher than they are, because a lot of the other Challenger teams have faced them, and they've all fended them off, and they have a considerable amount of points for EU standards.
Yeah, but it kind of sucks the way the Vainglory 8 is set up. If it's the first split was 4 weeks and this one was 3 weeks, you have to face these challenge battles. If you're in them in the first week, there is a very good chance you're in them the second time, because you may not get enough points, especially if you're a new team coming in, or if you didn't get any points, you're just going to be stuck there compared to a team that's at the top with like 20 points. You're not going to catch that.
Mm-hmm. Do you know if it resets in the summer season, or does it not?
In each season it'll reset, but during the splits, it doesn't reset.
Oh, okay.
So they'll have to get new points, but I think they need to change it so these challenge battles only happen at the end. Like there should not be for each split. Like that's that's exhausting. I don't know.
Teams and new energy into the Vainglory 8 and the Challenger battles. It would suck though if you were like behind one of the teams that wasn't in the Challenger section by like 1 point, and then you get knocked out just because you didn't
Yeah.
have 1 point, and you gotta go through 64 teams, I think it is, to get back up there.
Hmm. Especially if you were a team like even TSM, maybe like they've been at the top, but what if you had like a bad month and you just like slipped and like that would just like it'd be devastating.
Yeah, that happened to, let's see, Immortals and Gangstars for a little bit, I think, because
Yeah,
Immortals are now in the Challenger series, I believe.
yeah, and Gangsters had a little bit of a bad run there in the last was what second end of split one and into split two. So, but they started to turn things around. But yeah, you mess up, you have no time to recover, and then you're in the challenge battles. Like you said, still cool to see these new teams coming in, and I'll definitely be watching probably these NA games later today because I follow that scene much more closely, know more of the teams and more of the players there. So
For sure.
be cool to see who's in and who's out. Awesome. Well, that's all the news from this week, but got a little forum static.
Forum static.
So on the forums, came across this topic that I think I bring up quite a bit, or at least mention on Twitter every now and then, the idea of draft mode for all. So this is something that I mentioned to one of the devs, or asked a question about are we going to see draft mode for everyone, because when draft mode first launched, we did see draft for everyone, and it got scaled back very quickly. I think within like a first couple of weeks, it went back to just hotness and above if your MMR is there. Did you get a chance to look over this forum, or do you have any opinions on this draft mode for all? Because like you said, you are not at sometimes these higher tier games.
Yeah. So the exact form that you sent me, I don't know if it's going to be linked in the description, but
Yeah.
I'm really surprised that I didn't write this. This is like exactly something that I would write. Like, this is almost like perfectly like what I would write in my complaint. A lot with draft mode and people insta locking.
Hmm.
I think it's a bigger issue than dodging, because I think this is causing people to dodge, because people are insta locking characters that aren't really going to work out in the game
Yeah.
for that match. But
Hmm.
but I think draft should be for everyone. And then I know the issue with the heroes has been a big thing, and that's why I'm saying just right now for what they currently have, that I don't know, what is it at? Is it at hotness, or is it higher than
Yeah.
that?
Hotness and above. Yeah.
Hotness and above. I think they should do hotness and above, the double ban that they're using for the esport,
Hmm.
and then everything else in ranked should be a draft mode. So the original draft mode that they have right now for the community and not esport should be everyone, because I think it works fine with the heroes. And if you don't have enough heroes to play in the draft necessarily, I don't think you should be playing in ranked, because if you haven't mastered at least 4 or more heroes, I think
Yeah.
it is, then you shouldn't be able to be into a draft.
Hmm. Yeah, I think the problem is sometimes too is like you said, the insta locking. But then once you're at the tier 6 or so, and then you get draft mode, it's a totally different game. Maybe you had like a good run and you got there very quickly, and now you're playing draft mode and you really don't understand how to pick or counter pick, that kind of stuff. So by teaching people earlier, you improve them for what's to come sooner, because it's going to be a challenge and you need to know how these counters work, especially like you said, insta locking stuff. You just pick people, well, the other side might have countered you and you didn't even know it.
Exactly. I think it's a great thing to learn
Mhm.
at like tier 1, to learn how to draft, unless it's just choosing the hero. I know that I've been in draft modes before with POAs when I was higher up, before I had a lot of school stuff going on.
Okay.
People, and you can do the thumbs up and thumbs down to like tell them what to do, and they wouldn't even know how to draft. So you can tell that they got there by just not using the draft at all, and they would just wait for their hero to come up in their turn, and then they would choose it, and they wouldn't swap heroes to make the best team comp possible.
Yeah, but for swapping heroes, people don't like to do that because, yeah, you don't want to give up that precious first pick carry role you got. But if you have any thoughts on draft mode, or if you want to see it, I'd go to this forum post. The devs and people at Super Evil Megacorp, they respond pretty often in these forums. So go there, add your opinions. I know it's something that they want to bring for more people. I think I said a while ago that they should at least drop it down, maybe each update for the next like 4 months. Just drop it down one tier at a time to kind of ease people into it. Like next week, tier 6 gets it, then tier 5, and then tier 4. Like slowly roll it out. I think that would just excite people a little bit and kind of make them a little happier.
And also with these double glory weekends, a lot of people can now afford all the heroes because they're getting so much glory. So that's another way to get people more heroes, so we could implement the draft further down the tier list.
Cool. Well, one more thing before we wrap up this episode of Shatter the Vain is a random item.
Random item.
So every now and then, I like to bring up a different item in Vainglory, maybe one we've forgotten about or one we haven't seen in a while, and that's why this week I picked Echo. Echo is such a fun item, but it has completely, I don't know, disappeared. You don't see this very often. Every now and then when someone gets it, you're like, whoa, he's got an Echo? That's fun. It's almost like a fun item on people, but let me go over what it does, and then we'll kind of talk about maybe why we don't see Echo or maybe why you should. So Echo, the last ability to be put on cooldown is refreshed 115% of the ability's cooldown. So basically it's reset. You get 250 max energy, you get 4 energy recharge, and that's it. So it's basically an alt reset button for most people. You see on heroes maybe like Finn to get another hook out quickly, or Arden to get another gauntlet. And then that's really it, because it does not offer very much. Have you been one to buy Echo, or have you seen Echo recently?
I saw it in a ranked match the other day, and of course the person who bought it caused us to lose. So that was great. But I think Echo, when it first came out, it was really interesting that they even thought to consider something like that, because I know it could have like thrown the game. Be able to use their ult twice, and that's the thing that I don't think a lot of MOBAs have. But I think Echo is more of a brawl thing. Personally, I would make that a talent, or if anything, make Echo like an infusion for crystal or weapon.
Oh, okay. That could be interesting.
Yeah, so you pay a set amount, and then you get to use that like once while you have it. So that way people actually will use it. But then it also could make things some chaotic issues arise with people ulting all the time.
Right, because you really only get to use it once. The cooldown on it is pretty long. It doesn't say the cooldown on here.
50 seconds.
Yeah, that's a long time. And to get off 2 ults, and then either you won the fight or you died at that point if you were in a spot to use 2 ults. So you have to wait that 60 seconds to use these ults again, which your ult is already back up before the Echo is usually. I just think they need something else in this build path, either if it's health, if it's cooldown. It is a cooldown item, so it seems like it should be built out of like the hourglass or something like that to kind of give it a little more oomph, just to have a reason to have it other than just the double ults.
Yeah, it's definitely something. Maybe throw in some extra crystal damage with it.
Yeah.
Make it stronger. I don't know. It's an interesting item. I'm surprised that it died off really fast.
Yeah.
But then it also doesn't surprise me by like how long it takes for a lot of characters to throw their ult out, like Celeste or Arden, and you can get stunned out of those ults. So then you're just wasting a slot that you could use for something else, like a Shatter Glass.
Right. So, but Echoes, it can still be fun if you do find the right case for it. But yeah, like we said, difference needs something else. It takes up a slot right now that you should be using for something better, especially on a captain that needs to save your team. Having 2 gauntlets is not as good as having that Crucible or something like that.
Definitely. A lot of people forget to get a Crucible.
Oh, cool. Well, that's going to do it for this week's episode of Shatter the Vain. Mr. TNT, thanks for joining me.
Yeah, thanks for having me on again.
Where can people find you, get in touch? What's your YouTube, Twitter, any of that stuff? What's the best way?
.com/Mr. TNT699. I also have a Twitter. I'm not on it as much, but if you just want to go check out my videos, see what I got, you'll be able to find the Twitter there on one of the videos in the About page or on the top right.
Cool.
But I got some new stuff coming out shortly this summer when I got all the stuff dies down from school.
Okay. Makes sense. So yeah, everyone go over there, subscribe, check them out, get ready for that new stuff. And then Shatter the Vain's on Twitter at Shatter the Vain, website shatterthevain.com. All the episodes get posted there, links to iTunes, Stitcher, YouTube version as well. And I'll be back next week with 155. And yeah, we'll talk hopefully more about these talents and get ready for London. That's coming up, I think, like 2 weeks away from that. So yeah, I'm ready. All right, take care.
Let's get this over with.